Okay, today I'm on Taylor, and today I'm going to talk about the looky-loo, the horses that look around a lot. So there's different reasons horses look around. And one is they're just curious and they're checking things out. Two, they're very spooky, so they're looking for what things are going to eat them. And three, they're bored with you, and so they're just not paying attention, and so they're browsing. Maybe they're looking for another rider. So then there's the kind of horse that you have. So do you have the horse that's looking because he's spooky? And you might have a horse, he's spooky, but he looks, and then he gets over it. Or you might have one that's spooky, and he looks, and he scares himself more. So there's different things you would do depending on what horse you have. You might have a very calm horse that looks around, and he does fine, but when he looks around, he trips because he's not paying attention to where he's going. So that would be a different kind of treatment for that one. And then you might have one that looks around, he's not spooky, he's not trippy, and he does totally fine. He's very sure-footed. Okay? So depending what kind of horse you have, depends what you do with it. So I know what this horse is looking at because that horse is there every day. And so he's in a different position, so Taylor's a little bit scared by himself, and so he wants to really give his safety checks. And once he sees that's okay, we'll go by, and he might be a little bit goofy just because he's still getting used to stuff. But that's why he was looking, so I let him sit there and look because I'm trying to increase his confidence and increase his safety checks that he can rely on himself, and then also know that the rider's going to help him to get through it. So you see he's going a little sideways, so I'm just blocking him with my left rein and left leg so we don't go over that bird. That poor bird's dead over there. Okay, so now as I'm walking by, this horse sometimes runs away because he can't see well and he gets freaked out. So I know if he runs away, this horse might get a little scared and run away. So I want to make sure my reins are short because I want to be prepared, and I want to have my hands wide. So I'm ready for it. Same thing if I saw a deer or something up there. I want to sit up, shorten my reins, and be ready for it because you just never know if your horse is going to spook or not. Then I might take a couple glances as I'm going by to make sure I know what that horse is doing, so I'm prepared. The other thing you want to do is, if you're on a nervous horse, is breathe. And you breathe through your mouth. So you could be talking because you breathe when you're talking. But if you breathe through your nose, it's not the same thing. That's why with yoga they make you breathe through your mouth. So if your horse gets nervous, you want to open your mouth. Try not to catch any flies in it, but open your mouth and breathe. It's not so your horse thinks you're creepy or stalky because you're breathing down their neck. It's so that they feel your body relax, because if you relax, then they go, oh, I guess I shouldn't worry. And over time, it works. So see his head go down now. He's more relaxed again. Now I'm still blocking him with my left rein and left leg right now because anything that jumps out, it's going to be on my right-hand side. So when you know that, you can be prepared. But if you keep going on different trails, you won't know what's coming up. So if you have a spooky horse, I suggest you stay on the same trails in the beginning so you know what's coming up and how to help them through. Okay. Now Taylor's back to normal, but it might happen again up at the corner. He gets a little scared up here. So now I can go more on a loose rein, and I just cinch my fingers down, and then I'll let him relax. And I might let him look around a little bit, but not too much. So there he just spooked. But this guy kind of spooks in place. We had 3 deer up there. They just ran away. Good boy, Taylor. Okay, I'm going to share a little story with you if this thing stays on. So the other day I had this guy come over. He's helping me clean my carpets, and we were talking about animals. And he said my dad was a rancher, and we had cows, and we had 2 horses. We used to ride them on the weekend. And he said my job every day was I had to take care of the calves. And he said, and I had to ride each of those horses at least 20 minutes. And he said one was calm, and he said one was very goey and jumpy. And he said the calm one he'd ride for 20 minutes, and it'd be good. But he had to do that every day to make sure that for the weekend, the other kids in the family and the mom and stuff could ride that horse. He had to prepare that horse every day during the week to get him ready for that weekend and make sure he was a good horse so nobody would get hurt. And he said, and then the jumpy horse, well, the jumpy horse just was very go-y, and he just went and went and went, so it was very hard to tire him out. So he used to ride him in deep sand and dirt and places where the horse had to lift its legs higher and step over things, so he would get tired. And he said, and then right before that weekend, or before they got on, he would take them and ride that horse some more for an hour or so and get them good and tired. And he said, and then they could handle them. Okay? So that's a little tidbit about people really know and understand, horses understand that they have to be worked and they have to be prepared to do their job and to keep people safe, you know, and depending on what kind of horse you got depends on how long you have to prepare it. If it's a calm one, you might not have to prepare it as long as if it's a go-y one or a spooky one, you might have to put a lot of preparation into that horse to make sure it's ready for the task you have at hand. Okay? So just remember that. Like he said, he didn't know much about horses, but his dad taught him that that was the way they had to do things, otherwise they wouldn't be safe. And I thought that was a great lesson. Okay, me and Taylor are alone, and he's on a completely loose rein. Now coming up through the neighborhood, he was a little jumpy and stopped, and now we see people, so he stops. See, I'm shortening my reins up and getting ready for him, just in case. Once he sees people, what they are, he'll be totally fine, but I'm not staying on a loose, floppy rein. Hi! Have a nice walk. Good job, buddy. Okay, so you saw I shortened my reins up and I was prepared, so if they moved or did something or reached out to pet him and he got scared, I'd be right there for him. And now I can let my reins go longer again. Okay? So when you're on a spooky horse, you want to try to help them. Actually, we want to go over the log, so let's go this way. You want to be there for them. So when they're relaxed, sure, you can ride them on a long rein, but you have to be ready at all moments that you can shorten your reins up really quick. Because if you can't, then you don't want to ride on a long ride. You'd rather be on a short rein and just put your hands out in front of you. So see, he's looking at that rock up there because it is a little bit weird, and this is, you know, a jumpier or spookier horse. So you always want to, in the beginning, when you're scared or looking at stuff, have a short rein, be ready. You can let them look, but if you feel like they're going to take a left or turn around, you're going to turn them back around. But if your reins were loose like this, and he's like, well, I don't want to go by that rock, you just hang a left, and then you're teaching your horse to spin around. So you don't want him to spin around. So I want him to look at the rock. He can look left and right with his head. That's how he sees. And then once he's a little bit more relaxed, then I'm going to go forward.